Have you ever been in a session where you know that more items need to go, but your client is hesitating? She's overwhelmed, or maybe she's even shutting down completely. And you're standing there thinking, how do I move this along without making her feel pressured? Because here's the truth, decluttering faster isn't about moving quicker. It's about helping your client feel safe enough to make decisions. And today I'm going to show you exactly how to do that. And if you want to master this entire process from the phone call to the session to creating a wow factor for your clients so they become your biggest marketing machine, and even how to use life coaching techniques and which life coaching techniques to use with your clients, I teach all of this to you step by step in my How to Work with Clients as a Professional Organizer course at proorganizerzacademy.com. So if you've been looking for ways to build your clientele, this is definitely a step you're going to want to take. Let's get into the episode of how to declutter faster without pushing your client too hard. I'm Samantha Brown, professional organizer, decluttering specialist, and business coach. I created Pro Organizers Coach podcast to empower you to reach new heights in your business. I am on a mission to build a supportive sisterhood of passionate professional organizers. So whether you're a seasoned pro or you're just getting started, this podcast is for you. Welcome back to the Pro Organizers Coach podcast. Today I have 5 main teaching points that I want to talk to you about to help your clients when you are decluttering with them. So, number 1, set the tone before you ever touch an item. So decluttering does not start with the items or the stuff. It starts with expectations. Before you begin, say something like, we're not getting rid of everything today. We're just going to be making progress. This does 2 things. It removes pressure that they may be putting on themselves, and it gives your client permission to go at their pace. When the pressure goes down, the decision-making speeds are going to go up because they are going to feel more comfortable with you. And when you help them understand that, listen, this is your home, we can go as slow or fast as you would like. I want you to feel comfortable with this, and I want this to work for you. So as we go through the items, if you need to talk something out, or if we even need to make a maybe pile, and then we can come back around to it at the end, that is totally fine. I've actually used that one with a lot of clients when we first get started. As I'm setting the expectations for, what we're going to do that day, and I'm turning on the music, and I ask them like, hey, what kind of music do you listen to? And I don't turn it up real loud, but just something to put, kind of some good energy in the atmosphere. And I do that so, again, it takes the pressure off, right? It's setting those expectations. So as I'm having, like doing those things and asking those questions, that's when I would say something like, hey, we don't have to get rid of everything. You don't have to become a minimalist. We just need to get rid of enough stuff so we can actually organize the space and you can use it and reach the goals that you're wanting to reach today. Just some kind of comment. We forget the power of our words. We are the ones walking in as the professional. So helping to set those expectations is huge in helping them take the pressure off. And then the maybe pile is massive because a lot of clients, when you first get started, it's kind of like a workout muscle. Don't know how to declutter. They probably don't declutter that often, most of them. Now, some of them are pretty good at it, but typically this isn't something they do that often. So you have to help them build the muscle up and build the momentum up. So what I've learned is if they're a little hesitant in the beginning, then one of the things you can do is create the maybe pile. Just make sure you go back around to it by the end of the session, because what that does is by the time you get back around to that maybe pile, they're like, I don't need that. I don't need that. I do need that. Like they're really quick at making the decisions because you've been working with them for hours at that point and they've built up their decluttering muscle. All right. Tip number two I have for you is ask better questions instead of telling them what to do. So, this is where life coaching techniques come in. And this should be your secret sauce for working with your clients to help them feel seen and heard and to help them work through some of the things that they're needing to work through. So instead of, you should get rid of this, or this doesn't look that important, or whatever, any kind of statement, instead of making statements, try asking questions like, do you love it? This one, I had one lady I was working with that I had to keep reminding her, listen, you're going to like everything. Because we were going through her clothes. And I'm like, you're going to like it all. You bought it, but do you love it? That's a big distinction. And so helping them understand why looking at it and saying, am I like, oh, I like that. Like, that's cute. Or, oh my gosh, I love that. I wear it all the time. Or that's one of my favorite pieces. That's two different types of energy that they are having. And then another question is, when was the last time you used this? That's a big question because it gets them thinking. And I tell a lot of them too, listen, if the stuff that you're kind of hesitant on, even if, a year from now or even 6 months from now, if you still haven't picked it back up, then go ahead and donate it because then you can at least in your mind be like, hey, when I worked with Samantha, we went through this and it's been sitting in that same place since she left 6 months ago or this time last year. It's still in the same spot and I've not used it since. Like I make those comments to them as we're going through things, especially the clients that have a little bit of a harder time letting go. And then another question is, does this support your life right now? It may have been their favorite item. Again, I had a client that a lot of the stuff that she was keeping, she loved it. It was her favorite, but the last time she used it was 15 years ago, and it doesn't support her life right now. Yes, she loved it. She didn't use it anymore because a lot of it was clothes. It's that same client I was talking about a second ago. A lot of it is whenever, like in her mind, she could still wear it, it would still look good. And then asking her, like, hey, does this support your life right now? Is this something you would still wear today? It may have looked amazing on you 10, 15 years ago. It may have been your favorite piece, but if you've not worn it since then and it doesn't support who you are now, because now you like maybe comfier clothes or you've lost weight or whatever, like you're just in a different season of life now than when you did love it and wore it all the time. And then the other thing is, if worst comes to worst, talk to them about taking a photo of it. Like, hey, if we take a photo of this, it's going to bring back, like, it's going to help you remember and bring back those exact same emotions as if you were looking at it and it was taking up space. And so just remember that you are guiding them, not forcing them. And when the decision becomes theirs, it's a lot easier for them to make that decision. Now, they may want to keep a lot of stuff and you may walk out of there. There's been a ton of times I've walked out of a client's house feeling like, man, we could have gotten so much more done. But typically, they're thrilled with what we got done that day. Or, I'm like, man, we could have finished today, but I've got to come back one more time now to actually finish this. Or because we aren't attached emotionally to those items, they are. We have a way in our systems that work for us when we declutter. We're like, it's fine, I'll get rid of it. They have different emotional attachments, A, because it's their stuff, but B, because they've maybe never been taught how to declutter and organize. And maybe they don't understand that the more they get rid of, the more weight that comes off of their shoulders and the better they're going to feel. And so, but sometimes with clients, if the client's happy, then I know I did a good job that day. That's all that matters to me is that the client is happy with the job that we got done and that they at least got rid of enough stuff that I'm going to be able to make it like implement systems, make it more organized, that kind of thing. All right, tip number 3, look for the easy wins first. So one of the fastest ways to build momentum when you're first starting in a session is trash that's a good way to go through and just get kind of the energy flowing is okay, let's, go ahead and pick up some of this trash, obvious donations, or anything that may they have more than one of that's a duplicate. So those are some kind of easy wins to help them. I know with a lot of my clients, there's kind of two different ways I work with clients. One is I set them in a chair and I bring, like a box or whatever, and I set it in front of them. I open up my donation bag and set it beside them. I open up the trash bag and set it beside them on the other side. And then I let them start to go through, right? And as they're going through, I may be going through a different box or in the room, pulling out another thing and asking as they're kind of going through. Some clients can do that. Other clients, I will sit down and I'll put the box in between us. And then I'm in the floor, they're in a chair, and we're sitting there going through the box together with a bag on either side of us, one for donation, one for trash. And then we go through it together. So you really have to gauge how you can help your client the most. I know when I first got started, I honestly felt like it was always the amount of stuff I got done in a session determined whether it was a good session or not, or whether I should be happy with what we got done or not. Like if my car wasn't filled to the brim or I didn't take two, loads off, I was like, man, we could have gotten so much more done. But I had to reframe my mindset and my way of thinking back to the client. It is always about the client. It's more about making sure that they are happy with what you got done. And again, like I said a second ago, if they're happy, be happy that you got that much done. If you've been around me for any length of time, you know that I tell everyone a before and after photo does not have to be a Pinterest worthy after photo. If the floor's cluttered, when you take that before photo and when you take the after, you can see the floor, that's a win. That is a huge win. And that's the other reason I show my clients the before and after photos the way I do, and I send them to them the way I do. And I go into all of this so much deeper in the course, but I just wanted to make sure to bring this up to you that, just check yourself sometimes too about your expectations of what being a professional organizer looks like and making sure you're not putting too much pressure on yourself. All right. So, why the easy wins matter at first is because it builds their confidence, it creates visible progress, and then it warms them up for those harder decisions because momentum creates speed, not pressure. So, if you start off kind of slow and then you work your way up almost like a treadmill. All right. Tip number 4, regulate the energy in the room. You have to be aware of your clients' facial features, like the faces they're making. You have to be aware of kind of how they're acting. There's a lot that goes into this when you're helping a client declutter, especially when it's emotional items or sentimental items. So if your client is overwhelmed, everything is going to slow down. Like the whole session is going to be extremely slow if they're extremely overwhelmed. So instead of pushing forward and like being pushy with them and being like, oh, let's just push through this and get more done. And don't bring that energy. Pause and maybe say, hey, let's take a breath for a second. I know this is a lot and you are doing amazing. Build them up, bring the energy back down. Again, like I said a minute ago with the music, have some music playing that puts a good vibe in the room, right? Not too loud. You still got to be able to talk to them and go through things, but just enough to where there's, a little bit of like noise that's, happening to where maybe all of a sudden they're dancing, or that's so much better than it being silent and all they're doing is hearing the thoughts going on in their mind about what, Aunt Susie got me that or whatever it is. So you can slow your pace, shift to an easier category. Like if you're at a category that you can feel they're getting really anxious about that, hey, let's set this to the side for a minute and let's work on this first. We'll come back to that in a minute, right? Make sure you celebrate their small wins. Like I had a client I was working with the other day and it was her craft room. She has been putting this off, no joke, the craft room session since I started working with her probably a year and a half ago. Now, she typically only books like 2 sessions every 4 to 6 months, but she has waited for this craft room. And every time I would come to do the craft room, we would end up in a different part of the house that day. Well, I thought today we'd actually go in this other area, or like she has been putting it off, putting it off. So we finally get into the craft room this past Saturday. And when we got in there, I mean, this room is crammed full, like to the point where there was so much stuff you couldn't even take a step across the threshold. And so I was like, all right, girl, like you can do this. Like I had to be so encouraging with her. So I was almost acting not like she was a 5-year-old in a negative way, but like, you know, I was so excited for her because I honestly was, but I kind of amped it up a little bit to help her feel good, right? Because that's I'm her cheerleader. That's another part of being an organizer is I want to be their cheerleader and have them feel good about what it is that they're deciding on. And there were a lot of things because of that that she got rid of that had I pushed her to do that room back when she first was talking about it, when she wasn't fully ready, she wouldn't have got rid of anything. She would have kept everything if we would have done this when we first started working together. And so now that she's actually ready and she's wanting her craft room back where she can start crafting in there, and I keep reminding her, we're going to have to get rid of stuff because you need the space to be able to sew, or you need the space to be able to paint, or whatever it is. And so there, I was so proud of her. She got rid of so much stuff. But again, I was very honed in on the fact that today was going to be a hard day for her. And so just keep that in mind when you're working with your clients. So slow your pace if they're getting overwhelmed. Slow your pace, shift to an easier category, make sure to celebrate their small wins, and create that maybe pile I talked about. Because safety creates clarity, and clarity creates faster decisions. So helping them to feel safe and heard and seen and congratulated is going to help them make faster decisions. I promise you. All right. Last tip is know when to move on. This is key. Not every item needs a decision. So if they're stuck, then you can say, let's set this aside and we'll come back to it if we have time. This prevents emotional burnout, it keeps the session moving, and it protects your client relationship. Remember, the goal is progress over perfection every single time. You don't have to always do the session perfectly to our standards, like I was talking about a minute ago. But what you can do is help them make progress to where they are happy. Those are the 5 tips, and I will go back over them really quickly. Set the tone before you ever touch an item, right? So set the expectations. Ask better questions. Don't tell them what to do. Look for easy wins first. Regulate the energy in the room. If they're getting overwhelmed, bring the energy, back down and shift it. And then know when to move on because today's just not the day that they can deal with that, similar to my client with the craft room. All right. Thank you so much for listening. And if you take anything from this episode, let it be this. You are not there to force decisions. You are not a drill sergeant. You are there to create an environment where decisions feel easier for your clients so they can make the decision for themselves. And when you do that, you will naturally move faster, serve better, and create real transformation for your clients. And then they will tell their friends and family, and that's how you grow an organizing business. So, if you're listening to this and thinking, I want to feel more confident in my sessions, I want to know exactly what to say at my consultations, and I want to create that wow experience so my clients do become my biggest marketing machine. Then remember, I walk you through the entire client process step by step inside the course, How to Work with Clients as a Pro Organizer, at proorganizersacademy.com. You will find all of the links to the description, or you will find all of the links in the show notes and the description. And I appreciate you so much. So if this episode helped you, comment yes, so I know that the content I'm creating is helping you. I thank you so much for being here with me and for choosing me as your coach, and I'll see you in the next episode. Thank you for joining us on this episode of the Pro Organizers Coach podcast. Go to proorganizerscoach.com to find all the ways that we can help you succeed in your business. Remember, you have the power to make a difference in people's lives through decluttering and organization. So keep honing your skills, embracing those challenges, and fostering connections. Girl, you've got this.